You know why you're bad at trading? And trust me, I was too. It's because I wasn't thinking for myself. We were all there. AMC and GME 2021, we were all lured into a trap. And please don't take any passion here for hostility or anger. I hold it against no one for the AMC GME situation. I was lured in myself. I believed everything I was told too. And it wasn't until I stopped doing that that I started to see the light. And that is what you must do as well. You think the markets work a certain way. I get it. Everybody has their own opinions about what the market does, where it's going to go, what it's going to do. But let me tell you, none of that fucking matters. None of it. All that matters is what? We're here for what reason? To talk to each other while we all lose our hard earned money? I would hope not. Is it to all basically get into the same stock and then huddle up together next to each other, call ourselves apes, eat bananas, and think we're all going to get rich for doing absolutely nothing? I would hope not. That is what I actually was involved in. And it wasn't until I realized that something else was going on and I started to want to learn what that thing was that I started to get genuinely interested in this topic. And I started to make my SEC filing videos where everybody watched me basically learn my way through all of the different filings and the agencies and how they all worked and connected and what they all meant and how they affected the markets and where the markets were headed. And it led me to discover what the underlying macroeconomic events were that had to do with COVID and everything else and all the SLR and the risky lending and the repo, all that stuff and how it ties in. But guess what? None of that shit is needed to be known to learn how to make money trading. What you should learn how to do, simply enough, but hard to do, is think. And that is what this video is about. And the only way to do it is to stop letting others influence you. If you are not talking, you are getting sold. You must learn to think for yourself. One area that this is prevalent in is trading, charts, indicators. Everybody does the same thing, it seems like. But yet, as of right now, with the current tools that have been implemented over the last few years, there has never been a more prominent use case for innovative ideas and strategies that you can come up with yourself just by observing what you are doing. If you do not know what you're looking at, then you are basically making decisions off of something you don't understand, which is very, very, very bad for markets because it's your money. It's your hard-earned money. You don't want to lose your hard-earned money because not only are you losing that money, but the time it took for you to earn that money that you spent away from your family was now also thrown out as well. So we have to humble ourselves. We have to look at ourselves in the mirror and tell ourselves, hey, you suck dick at trading. I had to do the same thing. I sucked dick at trading for the longest time, and it wasn't until about 3 or 4 months ago. And even then, I still lost a bunch of money because it's a never-ending learning experience. But again, I know that it's getting better because everything's looking up. Everything's gaining. I'm actually starting to generate revenue finally. I'm actually starting to think about what works, what doesn't work, and what I can do to find that consistency needed to win. Because that is all you have to do is first humble yourself, realize that you don't know anything, that you have to start looking at what you're doing. And once you start doing that, you will naturally formulate ideas that you can use and test for free because there's paper trading to test these ideas. And then you can see what works and what doesn't. You can test what works for free, and then you can repeat those same actions for profit. That is life-changing. And that's a reality that we all live in. So instead of, following this guy on Twitter because he's saying something that you like and agree with, that sounds good, I would highly recommend at least looking into it yourself because you will be surprised and shocked at what you will learn. So this is the chart. Everybody loves the chart. But what about the data? What about the data that makes it all work? Well, that was the chart. I'm going to show you now the actual data that makes it all operate. Because looking at one chart is great, and you can get accustomed to one chart and how it works and, its behavior. But what if you could look at everything at once and have the ability to not only look at everything, but filter it down, work with it, access any attribute you want from any ticker at any time, and then create a script that monitors things for you? What if you can monitor these technicals? What if instead of looking and having to manually go look and assess with your eyes the MACD or the RSI, What if you could automatically calculate, okay, when this RSI is here, I know, because if I look historically with my own eyeballs, I can see that when the RSI gets to the bottom of this yellow line, it corrects and it goes the other way. When this happens, that is called a reversal. When a reversal happens, especially with options, which many of us like to trade, that is the ether of what will make you successful, is finding this momentum when it happens, where it happens, and then placing a trade at that moment in time to capture that movement. That is all you have to do to win in options, is you have to enter in at the right time, at the right moment, where the momentum will be in your favor. And the closer you can get to that switcheroo, the more profit you're going to make. But what I see a lot of people doing is they're buying into plays and then they sit there and they hold them, because that's what we were taught in AMC and GME days. We were taught to buy and hold. Buying and holding options is like buying and holding death. Theta will rape you. Pun intended, it will. It's designed to do it. Because if the stock's not moving in the direction of your contract, whether it's a call or a put, you will be losing money due to theta. Guaranteed. It's just how it works. Now, holding options. Again, if you're holding options, you're not only losing money by theta by default, but likely it's because you don't have a plan. Options decay very quickly, especially if you play short term, because a lot of people think they're cheaper. But if you're playing short term more often, you're losing money quicker because theta. So the idea here is to only be in the option if the option is moving in the direction of that option. So if it's a put, you only want to be in it if the price is moving down. If it's a call, you only want to be in it if the price is moving up, because if you're not, you will be losing money guaranteed. So how could you achieve this? That is the question. That is all you have to do. Your goal should be, how can I find a way to locate when momentum will begin happening for my contract, whether it's a call or a put, and I want to do it market wide. That is what everything's turning to. That is what's possible now. Retail has the ability. You have the ability to do this, to monitor every ticker in the market simultaneously and search for specific conditions that you know work, that you can find with your own eyes. Again, thinking. If you find a situation in the market where the RSI is 91, that's probably a great thing to scan for in the background, because when you do happen to find that, albeit it may be something rare, this is the 1 hour time frame, but when it does happen, you will know and you can capture that opportunity. It's that simple. It's taking everything else out of the equation and you're just looking for patterns at what works, what happens historically, what's always happened historically. Historically, when this gets to this level, it always goes back up. When this gets to this level, it always goes down and corrects. That can be exploited. Now, again, it's not that easy, but that's the first step, because you're going to run into a problem, because you're going to realize, oh, wait, sometimes it goes up after hours. You can't trade options after hours. So if you wouldn't have bought in here, you wouldn't have gotten that move over hours. And you wouldn't have done it anyway because it's overbought here. But again, if you were playing puts, again, you couldn't have bought in here when it was at this point. You would have had to get in here when it was near overbought. But what about here? If you see this in the after hours session and it opens up here right at 9:30, you're still overbought. You can buy in. That's it. And if you would have, boom, whole day of downtrend. It's just looking. It's looking and thinking. That's all it is. And you can't look and think if you're too busy looking at someone else's video, looking at someone else's idea, and then obsessing about it, and then telling everyone about it. The point is to understand it. These indicators that we're looking at, all it is this right here. That's all it is. It's a combination of data. Open high, low close, aggregated data, a little bit of math, creates that line on that chart that most people salivate over and make most of their decisions on. You can't really make decisions on one thing at a time in markets. You have to combine multiple things that complement each other. That is the trick. So again, this is kind of a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. You got to just think, people. Just think for yourself. And AMC and GME got us into a situation where we weren't thinking for ourselves, but it was an experience that I will never forget, and I'm grateful for it. And it taught me a lot that I didn't know a lot at all about anything, and I had to go learn. And it was a very, very fun process. But yeah, you just got to do it. You got to do it. You got to get over yourself. You got to get over your ego, your biases, your preconceived notions, and you got to just look. You got to observe. And you got to collaborate with others in that same mindset that know and are aware that if you really truly want to research with other people in this subject area, then everybody's got to put in effort. Otherwise, it's no one's learning anything. They're repeating their same mistakes in a different space in a group that they're close to. So we all just got to just think a little bit. That's all it is. And you will be surprised at what you will accomplish. So hope this one helps somebody.